Good evening, cadets. My name is Chief Petty Officer Benjamin Powell, and I'm from the Viking Division. As you know, it is week 3 of the COVID-19 pandemic, and due to this, the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps has adopted the Take It Home PRT. The PRT, also known as the Physical Readiness Test, is a standardized method in which the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps can test its cadets' ability before sending them to an advanced training. The PRT is administered semi-annually, once in the spring and once in the fall. The test consists of 3 exercises: the push-ups, sit-ups, and the 1-mile run. These exercises are scored in 4 different categories: fail, satisfactory, good, and excellent. Before completing any part of the PRT, make sure you consult your parents in selecting a safe location.
Hey cadets, today I'm going to show you how to properly execute a push-up. First, you're going to get into correct PT attire. Get on your face, hands shoulder width apart, elbows locked out, back straight, spine neutral. Relax until your elbows come 90 degrees, and then extend your arms, locking out your elbows, activating your tricep and your chest muscles. Every time you lock out your elbows, is 1 rep. With push-ups, you're expected to remain at a straight plank, and you're supposed to come down to a 90 degrees and then all the way back up. So when starting for the PRT, you'll usually have one knee on the deck, one back in the plank position, both hands placed down about shoulder width. So your test administrator will call for ready, attention, and that's when you'll bring your leg up so that you're fully in the plank position, and then go. And from there, you'll execute as many 90-degree full push-up presses as possible. So that would be 1. And you need to make sure that you are going all the way down. As for hand placement, I prefer close in, focusing more on triceps, but as you turn your hands more, your shoulders will go out, and that'll isolate different muscles as well. So if you're getting tired doing this, you can twist your hands a little bit, start working the chest a little bit more. So that's for the push-up event. So, as for the sit-ups, I don't have a partner here to assist me, so I'll be using my rucksack as weight. Typically, you'll have your partner standing or kneeling down beside you, grabbing your ankles to hold you down. So, for the sit-up exercise, your legs need to be at 120 degrees, and you're on your back with your arms crossed against your chest. Your arms have to remain on your chest for a rep to count. And from there, you go up, and all that needs to happen is your elbows need to meet your thighs. So from there, it's up, down, and only the small of your back with your shoulder blades touching needs to meet the ground. And that would be 1 repetition. That would be 2, 3, and 4. This is how you properly execute a sit-up. With your heels 1 foot away from your rear end, you're going to lay flat on your back with your hands flat up against your collarbones. You're going to activate your abdominal muscle to crunch up so that your elbows touch your thighs. Every time your shoulder blades hit the deck, that's 1 rep. Your elbows have to hit somewhere on your thighs.
I will now demonstrate what not to do in the push-ups and sit-ups portion of the PRT. During the push-up portion of the PRT, make sure you keep a flat back. No mountains, sagging, or inchworms. Also, keep your hands and feet on the ground at all times when doing the push-up reps. Also, make sure you fully extend your elbows. No half reps. These don't count. When performing the sit-up portion of the PRT, you can have someone hold your feet, or you can use an object. It's up to you. I'm going to have Instructor Powell perform the correct way to hold the feet. He's going to have his hands hold my ankles, and he's going to make sure not to use the knees or hips to hold me down. Now I'm going to describe a few common errors when it comes to the sit-up portion of the PRT. 1 is not touching your shoulder blades to the ground. 2, holding onto your t-shirt. 3, hitting below mid-thigh, and 4, raising your hips between each rep. All of these will disqualify each rep that you do. Remember, safety is paramount. Make sure you hydrate before, during, and after the PRT, as well as do a good warm-up and cool down. Good luck and try your best.
Hello cadets and families, I'm Chief Petty Officer Ethan Goswick. I am a member of the Senior Cadet Leadership Council, and I'm here today to talk about maintaining a healthy lifestyle and about our PRT standards. So, we understand that a lot of you cadets are stuck at home and you don't have a gym to go to, but there is a lot that you can do at home to maintain good physical fitness. So a lot of that can be just either going for a bike ride or running on the street, to even making your own home workout equipment at home. So some of the tools that I use are, I know we're all out of school right now, so I filled up my rucksack with all my textbooks. So this is about a 60-pound rucksack, and you can use this to hold your feet down for sit-ups, or you can go on walks for it. It builds great leg strength. Also, if you're looking to get in some push-ups or pull-ups with some weight, you can find just a weight vest, or you can fashion one yourself. There are a lot of materials that you can probably find to do that. It's just simple. You can have about 20 to 30 pounds extra on your body, and it's really great for building up some strength. This is definitely a favorite of mine. And then if you have old ammo cans lying around or boxes, you can go ahead and just fill those up with rocks or even coins that you find around the house. And it's good for arm exercises. You can do overhead pushes. You can hold them out in front of you, and they're great for building up strength, as well as shoulder exercises and other things like that. So I'm going to put up an image of our PRT standards, and as of right now, National Headquarters is still going forward with summer trainings. So you will be required to pass the PRT both beforehand and at the training in order to go to trainings. So it's imperative that you meet those standards. So if you go ahead and look at the image from top to bottom, it'll have your age group. I believe males are on the top with females on the bottom, ages 10 through 18. And then going down the list, it'll be your basic pass-fail standards, your national level, or your presidential level. So this kind of tells you how you're doing, where you are, and what award you can get with this. So again, as you get older, the PRT standards become greater, and it's a little harder to pass. So those are your standards. Again, I encourage you cadets to get out, be active. There's so much that you can do. I know that Chief Petty Officer Cole Devereaux, if you look on his Instagram feed, he's starting a 10-day challenge, and he would be glad to see your workouts and what you come up with. Stay strong, cadets.
Usually there's staff members and there's units and cadets that help us with this kind of thing. And now it falls on us as parents and staff members that are quarantined in our homes and places to do this ourselves. Don't get overwhelmed. That's the main thing, is there's a lot to it, but it's not that difficult. So what they're going to be issuing out shortly is a checklist, basically a how-to checklist on how to get this done. Check box by check box, making sure that you guys can get through this, and make sure that we do everything we can to make sure that your cadet gets taken care of and you guys get taken care of, and we keep the program moving along as we should, because with every good program, it's all about adapting, overcoming, and being successful coming out the end. But it's also the fun in between where we get to learn how to do different things and be able to adapt. First and foremost, safety, right? We want to make sure that all our cadets and all our parents and all our staff and everybody that's related to this is safe. So when it comes to doing the PRT, first of all, make sure you're safe. Make sure you're in the proper physical fitness gear. Now, they were saying be in your PT gear for your unit and all that other stuff. Yeah, that'd be great. Show the morale, bring up the spirit, esprit de corps and stuff like that. But Let's say, for instance, you don't have that at the moment. That's totally cool. We're not going to, from what I understand, national headquarters is not going to be Gestapo and be watching you guys and making sure you guys are in the PT uniform. So just make sure you have good running shoes and your kids are taken care of. Your kids hydrate and the cadets hydrate. And remember, parents, you can run with them and do push-ups and sit-ups with them too if you'd like. I always encourage that. It's all a fun part of the process. The other thing is people may be concerned about, hey, so what happens if Cadet A does 5,000 push-ups and 200 sit-ups and runs the mile in 1 second, 42 milliseconds or something like that, right? Well, okay, this program is built on honor, courage, commitment, and integrity, right? I always throw integrity in there because it's about doing the right thing when nobody's watching. That's basically the main definition of it. But it's just being a good person, right? If you lack integrity, it's one of those things that's going to follow you your entire life. We're teaching integrity. We're teaching having the courage to stand up and being honorable and having the perseverance to do the right thing and the courage to do the right thing. So when it comes down to this stuff, you got to realize that what happens and the numbers that are counted and everything, how you're transferring it to your units and how many push-ups, sit-ups, and the run time gets transferred to your unit, and that your cadet will still need to have the PRT done at a training. So you got to think about that. If somebody's trying to get that medal, that silver E on their ribbon, and they're going to kind of move the numbers left or right or however they got to, they got to remember that for every action there's an equal opposite reaction, and the only one that they're really going to be letting down is themselves. It's all about building yourself up here and learning from the failure, learning that it's okay to fail as long as you get up, put your foot forward, and just keep moving forward. That's the big thing here. A lot of people are scared to fail, but guess what? Failure is a portion of life. It's a big portion of life, and that's where we get growth. So when it comes to that, make sure you guys are putting the right numbers down, and make sure you're holding your cadets accountable, and everything should be fine. I don't think there's going to be any problem whatsoever, but if there is, that's where we stand on that. We just want to make sure that this is done right for everybody. Secondly, we've got, as far as the events. Now, this is one of the bigger questions that I've received from my unit, where they were asking about, okay, well, if we do the push-ups and the sit-ups, and then we have to go find a place to run. Okay, the events are supposed to be done within a certain amount of time from each other, right? So you do the push-ups, you do the minutes push-ups, you do the minute sit-ups, and then you take a couple minutes to rest, and then you go do the run. This is standard operating procedure for normal PRT. Well, people go, well, where are we going to run? Because the regulation says do not run on city streets and things like that. Well, that's more built for units. So if we're running like 90 cadets on a city street, that could be a problem. But as far as we're doing these PRTs now due to the circumstance and situation in our own homes and in our own neighborhoods. So if you have a living room, it's now your PT deck. You got your push-ups, you got your sit-ups you can conduct there. And then right after that, hydrate a little bit, whatever you guys have to do, and then kick off the run and go outside and run your neighborhood. One of the things that we were talking about before is treadmills are not an option, unfortunately, just because there's no accountability on how to track those numbers. And we want everybody to do the same thing because we want everybody we want it to be fair for everyone, right? If I'm out there running a mile, my 16-year-old can totally run a mile. That kind of thing. And water is important. Remain hydrated. And when you report your scores to your unit, we encourage you guys to use your chain of command. Talk to your commanding officer or your XO or your administrative staff. However your units are stood up and however your units handle communication, they are the first point of contact for questions. National headquarters sends the guidance down to us, and it's on us as COs, XOs, and staff to basically carry out those orders, but make them so that they're appropriate and they're conducive to the way we do business, still following their guidelines. So follow the chain of command. They'll give you the requirements when they want this done, how they want this done. National is going to give you the requirements on when it needs to be done and how it's got to be done, and then we can go from there. So at this point, I'll pass it off to Karen, and then we'll probably be taking some questions from you guys. I'm looking forward to them. And remember, no question is stupid. because everybody has questions, and if you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it. So feel free to ask it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Casas. And
Absolutely.
we may have a second speaker, but I'm not sure if he's able to unmute himself. I think he is. I'm pretty excited. I am so pleased to introduce Chief Petty Officer Vahan Manougian, U.S. Navy retired. Vahan is actually our area representative, our headquarters area representative for the Southwest, which represents California and Nevada. And most impressively, he's also a 22-year volunteer with the Sea Cadet Corps. So we're really pleased to have him here tonight. Vahan, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, depending on what side of the world you're on. I'm just going to throw a few extra thoughts in, and then we're going to open it up to questions. For those that have cadets who have done the PRT before, one of the points that Ramon brought up was the fact that we have to adapt to our environment. So it's an adapt and overcome situation. You will have your cadets possibly say, but that's not how it's supposed to be done. The regulations say, and we're very proud when cadets do that, because that means they know the rules, they want to follow the rules, and that's very important. But these are different times. And if you look at that video, there were a couple points that jumped out that may get some questioning. The first one was the uniform, which Ramon brought up. Obviously, doing it in your PT uniform is a good thing. It shows morale and unit pride. But at the same time, shorts and a t-shirt will work in a home environment. So that's not a showstopper. The second one of the pictures, he was demonstrating and he didn't have shoes on. And that was for the purpose of making the videos. And I will say that video was put together unsolicited by National Headquarters by 3 of our chief petty officers, or 2 chiefs and I think a first class. And they did that on their own. So we applaud them for the effort of getting the information out. Shoes are very important though. Anytime you're doing the PRT, you got to have footwear on so that you stay protected. The other item was talking about holding feet. And you saw that they used a weighted bag, or he talked about, putting your feet under a bed or a couch or some way to weight them down so you could do your sit-ups. That is okay in this current situation that we're in, especially if even in households, if you're practicing social distancing, we're certainly not going to stand in the way of that. But your cadet or cadets may say, no, but the rules say you have to hold my feet. Explain to them that, again, this is about adapting and overcoming. Another point to put forward, and I'm sure we'll get a question on this, we did in the last chat that we had, was the 1 minute for sit-ups and 1 minute for push-ups. That is a change for the push-ups. The rules used to be that push-ups were, as long as you maintained a steady pace, you just kept punching them out. There is now a time limit. The checklist that Ramon was referring to is a document that's going to be published up and put out here in the next day or two. It is literally a checklist. So if you're a parent who's feeling uncomfortable about administering the PRT, you have nothing to worry about. If you can bake a cake, you can do the PRT, and that's how it's set up. Just follow the boxes. We've put in a cover sheet that gives you the 11 steps to doing a PRT. We've also included the written guide of the how-tos that everything should look like, including pictures. And then we will also include the standards that they showed up on the screen. So with that, Karen, why don't we open it up to questions, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Okay, so this is regarding a lead cadet advancement. If the cadet was not able to take the PRT and the exam before the shutdown, and they've met the TIG and TIS requirements, once they take the test, will that advancement be backdated, or will it be dated as when the test is completed?
So in that situation, as soon as all the requirements are met, if it was, again, due to our current situation that caused the delay in the promotion, simply have the unit CO send an email up via the chain of command, and I'm sure we can make that correction. Actually, the first line of defense would be for the unit CO to see if that backdate will be accepted into the system to Magellan. And if they can affect the promotion at that level, absolutely, they should go ahead and do that.
Great. Someone else is asking how they send PRT videos in. I'm not sure if they think they need to or they're just wondering about that.
Yeah, I think there's been some chatter out there. And again, this is a unit standard that was set up. Some of the units are asking, probably more for morale reasons, to have the PRT videotaped and send those videotapes in. If you can do that, that's great. I know that some of our COs are asking for that to be a requirement for the PRT. And certainly if that's a challenge for you in sending in a video and they've asked for it, simply let them know you're not able to do it. Not sending in a video will not be a reason for recording scores.
So they just need to check with their local unit on that.
Exactly.
Right. Someone else wants to know what the easiest way is of marking a 1 mile. Like, how do you know how far that is, type thing?
So if you're on an open road or you have a street with the sidewalk, get in your car, set the odometer to 0, and drive, I would say, for half a mile and use that as a turnaround point. And then let them know you're going to run here and then you're going to turn around and run back. That's one option. Another option, a great idea that was put on the table, was for those with the Androids and the iPhones. If you get a running app and you can use that running app, you get started, you start running until you've run a mile, you hit the stop button, it'll record a time for you. That would be acceptable also. Again, this is one of those unique adapt and overcome type situations.
Are the adult leaders doing the PRT as well, or is this specifically for youth, or is that up to the units to decide?
So we always encourage folks to run the PRT, including our adult volunteers. So if an adult volunteer would like to do the PRT, they're certainly more than welcome to. Their run is, I think, 1.5 miles, which mirrors the Navy. So if you can do it, absolutely get out there. If you're an adult volunteer with a cadet in the program, do the run together.
What a great idea. I love that. Can my cadet repeat the PRT if he fails, and if so, how many times?
So according to the regulations, once you fail a PRT, the unit CO certainly can schedule a makeup. Now, obviously, the unit's not getting together. So if they fail the PRT, you would want to report that score and then, again, communicate with your local unit, let them know that you're going to be working on whatever the shortfall was and that you would like to run another PRT afterwards. And the local unit should be able to arrange that.
Are the PRTs done on a certain day? And is videotaping of the PRT required for submission?
So the PRT, what we are suggesting to our units is that they set a window for the PRT, and that's more for logistical purposes, so that a local unit doesn't have PRT stretched out over a 3 or 4 week period, because they have to do the uploads into Magellan as one file. So we've suggested that they do a start and stop date, maybe allow a 4 to 5 day window for folks to do the PRT, report all those scores in. Once that window is closed, then they close it out and report whatever numbers they have. Again, that all goes back to communication. If they announce a date and you can't fulfill that date because of other obligations or circumstances, just communicate with the local unit. And they should be able to help you. Our goal is for everyone to jump this hurdle and not have it be a challenge.
The next question is, will the instructions give the timed breaks that will match the retest of the PRT during summer training?
Yes, I think I understand that question. So as Ramon mentioned, there's a sequence of doing events and that there's a break in between each event. It's actually a 2-minute break. So you do your sit-ups, you take a 2-minute break, you do your push-ups, you do your 2-minute break, and then you go into your mile run. Now again, no one's standing there with the stopwatch. And if you go 2 minutes and 15 seconds, or even if you go 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, between the sit-ups, push-ups, and then your mile run, no one's monitoring from the air, trust me.
Someone else is asking how they submit the verification form with the results on it, screenshot, email. Some of this I think you've addressed, but.
Yeah, absolutely. The end state is get the information back to the unit leadership. So email, text message, carrier pigeon, I'd say commercial air, except that that's all dicey right now. As long as the information gets back. But again, work with your local leadership. If the electronics don't work, dial the phone, do it by phone. There will be a way to get the information back.
One person is asking, how many minutes are you supposed to do to complete the push-ups and sit-ups?
1 minute each event. Just so you know, on that checklist that we sent out, the document, there will be a box that you can write scores in. The verification form is great. If you can't sign the form, you can't sign the form. That's, when we design forms, sometimes we put lines on there just because we put lines on there to fill out, so it fills it out. But bottom line is getting the information back. It's all about integrity.
One person says that their cadet is graduating this year. Do they still need to complete the PRT?
If they are going to go to a training or participate in one of the virtual trainings and they have not done a PRT in the last 6 months, then yes.
And what time do they need to be under for the mile run?
So that varies by age. On that checklist form, we will have the document that shows age and what the required times are for each of the events.
Somebody else is asking, what about birthdays? The test soon will be one age, but we'll have a birthday before summer training. Which age should they do?
The day of the PRT, however old you are, that's the date you want to use.
All right.
And as you get older, the numbers get bigger. So I would jump on it right now.
How about for league cadets? Or is it the same time for cadets as it is for league cadets?
Absolutely. Yeah, the word cadet is used interchangeably between both the Navy League and the Sea Cadets.
Someone else has shared the link on Homeport to the PRT guidance, so thank you for doing that. And someone else is asking if there's any idea when the decision about summer trainings will be made.
Well, I think you probably said at the beginning that we weren't going to talk about summer trainings, but I'll give everyone kind of a snapshot of what we're working on. So the summer trainings, obviously, how we perform summer trainings will really be driven by our current pandemic situation. And as we know, as they open the country back up, it's going to happen differently in different parts of the country. So we know that there will at least be virtual trainings available, and those will be used for advancement. So that's for our cadets who need to advance from E2 on, not E2, excuse me, P3 on up. So virtual trainings or blended experiences where you do some training work and then there's some practical work that you either do locally or you do after we've opened up some of the areas for training. There was a post out there about a CPR course that National Headquarters was helping fund where you did the online experience and that was paid for by National Headquarters. And then you would go and do the practical portion of the CPR first aid, and that would count for advanced training. So that's for our E3s and above. For our brand new cadets, those who have never been to training and they require recruit training, we're trying to finalize our model now, and it is probably, and I say probably, so no one can come back and say, he told me. So that RTC this year will be a combined virtual and face-to-face experience. So here's what we'll want folks to do. At the unit level, we will want them to first do the requirements for making E2Q, and that is 90 days in the program and completing the BMR. Once they do that, they become an E2 temporary. They have in fact earned their second stripe. If we're not able to open up recruit training opportunities over the summer, then we will allow a cadet to do one of the virtual trainings that's offered for the purpose of advancement to E2. However, in order to make E3, they will then have to complete the recruit training program, whether it's a blended experience, a traditional experience, a local experience. Those are the details we're working out now. The bottom line is that we want cadets to advance. We want them to keep moving forward. Again, it's adapt and overcome. It's not how we've done it in the past. And when we get back to normal operations, whatever that might be, we'll obviously go back to some of our basics that we've always used.
We have someone asking about the timing of when they have to repeat the PRT. They have a cadet that did it in December and passed. And so they want to know when this cadet would have to do it again. Is it every 6 months?
It is every 6 months. There has to be a recorded PRT. And that's because the dates that are put into Magellan for the PRT interface with things like training signups and registrations and other pieces of the puzzle.
Speaking of training signups, somebody's asking when the trainings will be posted.
We are shooting for the 1st of May for the virtual trainings to be posted. So right around the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of May, we'll get announcements out well ahead of that time frame so that everyone's on the same page.
Well, apparently you guys did an excellent job explaining everything, so thank you. You've answered all the questions and shared your wisdom, and I know how much everyone appreciates that. And to the parents, we just want to thank you for all that you're doing. And again, we hope that you'll take this time to spend this extra time with your cadets, see what they're doing, experience this with them together. But thank you again. And if you have questions that come up after this, feel free to email us at training@seacadets.org. But otherwise, we look forward to future parent webinars. We love your suggestions for that, those of you that have already submitted them. And Vahan, Ramon, any last comments?
No, just in general, just keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep supporting each other. Keep supporting your cadets. Just enjoy the adventure. I mean, we can all learn something from everything that we're doing. And like Karen had said, anytime you have questions, feel free to reach out. Always your first stop, just so we don't ruffle any feathers, is your CO and their chain of command. And if they don't have the guidance for you, hopefully they'll reach out and figure it out for you. And if you got to come higher, well, we're always available. You can always reach out, and you can always find me too on the webpage. You're also, if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, we're always reachable. We're here for the kids. We're here for you.
I actually do have one last question that came in. Someone's asking, what happens to someone who posts a PRT on a national level? Do they hold off on the awards, or what happens there?
That's a good question. All the PRT scores that are submitted will be and reach the national level and the excellent level for awards will be given awards. So the numbers you report are the numbers we run with, and if they're entitled to the ribbon or the appurtenance, they will receive it.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good note to end on. We thank you all again tonight, and thanks for all you're doing to support your cadet in this program. And we look forward to seeing you on our next parent webinar.